Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Today we'll cover how enterprise AI has matured in 2025 and a look towards next year. My name is Cassandra Leonard, and I'm joined by Malvika Kumar, and we'll be your presenters today. In September, we surveyed 250 AI decision makers across global enterprises to publish the Enterprise AI Trends Report. Last year in 2024, we published a similar report, and really what we wanted to do is take a deep dive into how these trends have changed over time. The report captures the latest adoption patterns, strategic priorities, and emerging challenges shaping the enterprise AI landscape. Today, we'll explore what's really shifting in the AI maturity curve and then map out what leaders must prioritize in order to stay ahead. My goal by the end is that you walk away with new perspectives and concrete actions. As we go through the agenda, we'll go over some of those lessons learned, then we'll dive into some real life use cases, and then focus on how you can stay ahead. Now I'll pass it to Malvika to go over what this transition moment looks like.
Perfect. Thanks. So, what did this report teach us this time? So, in 2024, we found out that many organizations were still experimenting, still testing around models, exploring co-pilots, and also figuring out what governance looked like. But in 2025, it's become super clear that companies are moving from exploration to execution. Clearly, with the insight that we got from the report was that 19% of organizations are are exploring, whereas the mass majority, that is the 36%, have moved on to scaling AI across their enterprises. Now, an important trend, to kind of cite in some examples is, if you remember, in 2024, we heard a lot of companies that are still running pilots. They're still focused on the feasibility of their AI projects, right? But in 2025, we hear more stories around rolling out enterprise-wide co-pilots or automating thousands of workflows inside their organization or embedding AI into HR, finance, or operation applications as well within the company. So we really see AI now becoming, we really see AI coming into mainstream into most organizations. So we've seen the shift happening from pilots to enterprise-wide rollout, right? We see many organizations, they now have the funding, they have the executive sponsorship, they also have strategic intent for AI. But now we're discovering the hard problems, all of these problems that lie in execution, mostly around data readiness, governance, and integration. So these are the problems that organizations are facing now when it comes to execution. So let's start with data. It's the obvious challenge, right? And we found that 55% of the organizations cite that data is of poor quality and it is the biggest obstacle for them to scale AI. Now, coming to the second challenge is, of course, around security and compliance. Nearly 70% of enterprises really struggle when it comes to compliance and security. Now, the third point is around integration. Only 16% of these enterprises have fully integrated AI into their day-to-day operations. So now it's super clear that the challenge isn't around building models, but it's actually bringing AI into business workflows and other enterprise systems that you use.
We also found decision intelligence is emerging as a defining priority for enterprise AI, with 66% of companies prioritizing productivity and knowledge access as their top focus. While customer experience and efficiency remain important, the emphasis has shifted towards making information more accessible and actionable. And when we look at our top industries, we find that the most heavily regulated are actually the ones adopting AI the fastest. Why? Because they already have frameworks for risk, compliance, and governance built in. We found that in the financial services industry, about 27%, healthcare and life sciences, about 21%, and insurance, 18%, made up the top industries adopting AI. Their accelerated adoption signals that AI is less hindered by regulation, but actually very actively leveraged. Now, when we look at all of these use cases, we find that they typically fall into one of these four categories. You have your knowledge access, so your enterprise search, really making sure that the information is simple to find. Your observability and reporting, your extraction and abstraction of data from unstructured sources, and your workflow automation, your agent automation. Now, I'll dive into a few examples of real-life case studies that we have worked with. So this first one here is a Fortune 50 consumer goods company. Initially, the challenge was that their promotion planning relied on a lot of manual spreadsheets and a lot of scattered feedback. They would spend days reconciling updates and updating forecasts. Because of the multiple brands, that created a lot of fragmented copy-paste workflows, which ultimately led to a lot of inconsistency. So within 30 days, we deployed an AI promotion planning platform that really unified the retailer and sales feedback, automating input validation, variance detection, and approval workflows, reducing a lot of that manual effort. We were also able to integrate real-time sales data for full traceability of every update, approval, and rejection. And at the very top level, we're able to implement role-based views and permissions for aligned decision-making across teams. So everyone has access to the information that they're supposed to and need. Ultimately, this led to 90% faster promotion planning cycles and unlocked a lot of trade spend. The second example here is a global multi-line insurer. And again, a lot of manual document-heavy workflows. The information was having to be rekeyed from PDFs, police reports, scanned documents, which again led to a lot of fragmented systems of record. This also created a lot of compliance risks and limited scalability. The solution being an AI-powered claims automation solution, digitizing and validating unstructured submissions and auto updates to the systems of record. This allowed us to also apply AI-based fraud and compliance checks and really automate the flow of how this information was being validated. With a 99% accuracy, this was extremely valuable to this insurance agency. And the third example, a leading private equity firm. This private equity firm had over 500 portfolio companies, all submitting monthly, quarterly, and annual reports in all types of formats. This forced internal teams to manually normalize and extract data from thousands of rows in Excel. Naturally, that human abstraction led to human error. The solution here was a solution to really extract and normalize that data from those unstructured reports and put them into a structured format. Because of this, we were able to achieve over 98% accuracy, surpassing those human benchmarks. And with the structured data, we're able to provide editable context suggestions, confidence scores, and full traceability back to the original source of truth. We actually approached this in a phased deployment to really minimize the disruption and maximize adoption across teams. Now, with essentially an endless list of AI use cases, the question still lives. Do you buy or do you build? 40% of organizations are actually taking a hybrid approach. Hybrid adoption reflects the enterprise need for both speed and control, accelerating deployment where possible while tailoring solutions in sensitive or regulated areas. Now I'll pass it to Malvika, where she'll talk about the checklist for AI success. This is really kind of what you can do to get started and see the ultimate success in your enterprise.
Perfect. So think of this checklist as a mini checklist that you can keep in your mind for AI success. So the very first thing is make sure you anchor your AI initiatives to measurable business outcomes, right? What do we mean by this? Try to tie every AI initiative to a specific KPI. Now, this KPI could be revenue growth, it could be operational efficiency, it could be customer satisfaction, it could be anything. But make sure that you tie every AI initiative that you have in the organization to a specific KPI. Now, review these outcomes quarterly to make sure that you're actually staying in line with your specific KPIs that you have set as goals. Now, the second thing on the list is make sure you start with a high impact, scalable use case. Now, how do you do this? Start prioritizing areas like decision intelligence, productivity workflows, and also around customer engagement. Try and build a roadmap that moves quickly from pilot to enterprise rollout here, right? Now, the third thing is try and strengthen your data foundation. Now, this is super critical, right? Audit your data pipelines for quality and make sure they're complete before you even try to scale your AI initiative. Invest in governance, invest in lineage and compliance readiness so that you can reduce risk later on. Try and appoint data owners and try and make sure that you create data as a product or data as self-service inside the organization. Now, the fourth thing is plan for seamless integration. Now, this is, as you saw from the stats, that many companies are facing challenges around integration, right? So plan very, very carefully around your integration. Choose platforms that connect easily to your existing tech stack, not the other way around. Budget for integration from the start, because this can be a hidden cost later on for you. Now, the fifth point is demand transparency and reliability. How do you do this? Try and define a minimum accuracy that you want to go after and performance thresholds, even before deployment. Implement monitoring tools for bias, drift, compliance. Start establishing feedback loops with users to continuously improve these models. So this is how you can make sure that you get the transparency and reliability that you really need for enterprise grade solutions. Now, the next point is try and consider a modern build and buy approach here. Don't try to build everything in-house. Build in-house only if it creates defensible IP and if it's worth the upfront investment. Think wisely. Now, buy tailored solutions only when those use cases meet your need. Right? So try and use a hybrid model so that you can balance speed, you can balance control and cost overall. So a typical approach that we usually let our customers know is an 80-20 portfolio approach is the best approach here. 80% of buy and 20% for build, so you build strategic, defensible IP. The seventh point is invest in human plus AI collaboration. This is a no-brainer. We still require humans in the checkpoint, in the loop, to make sure that AI is safe and all the responses are useful. So how do you do this? Start redesigning your workflows to pair human expertise. Make sure the AI augments human expertise. Train employees to interpret questions and refine AI inputs. Try to position AI as augmentation, but not as replacement, as I just said. Now, the last point is adoption. This is something that is not spoken about because we don't speak about it. We only speak about till production, but adoption is actually a super critical thing here to think about as well. Start communicating the why behind the AI clearly to all of your teams. Start celebrating quick wins so that you can build momentum when it comes to adoption here. And most importantly, start getting ahead of training and support for these AI solutions early on. So in a nutshell, those were the 8 important things to remember when you are looking at AI to deliver success. Yes.
Great. So now, keeping all of those things in mind, let me introduce you to the Unframe platform, a new way to get AI native enterprise solutions. This is basically how it works. We start with landing on the right use case for your business. So as Malvika mentioned, really identifying what is that high impact scalable use case. That's where we want to start. We want to start very specific and very strategic. Now, whether you already have a clear idea or you're just curious where AI could help, we'll work with you on where to find that best starting point. From there, we deliver a production-ready solution on our platform in just a few days. This is completely ready for you to try with either your own data, or we can use some dummy data to get started quickly. Only when you're happy with the outcome and get the business value that you're expecting, we move to licensing. So really, at the end of the day, you get a enterprise-grade, fully managed, tailored for your data, turnkey solution. And we really want to put emphasis on this strategic approach and what makes the most sense for your business and how do we move as quickly as possible while still keeping that initial business outcome in mind and really putting the focus on the ROI. Now, because enterprises are in a lot of different phases of the AI journey, we offer an AI fast track workshop. And basically what this aims to do is to help you identify what that high impact use case is. So we start with understanding why maybe some of your AI projects have failed in the past, what can we learn from that, and how to unlock some of those business outcomes. From there, we look at what are your pain points and where are the opportunities? Where is there a lot of manual work? Where are there maybe compliance bottlenecks? What is stopping your projects from being successful, and where does the biggest opportunity lie? Then we work on prioritizing, really selecting what that perfect starting point is. And that's when we go into the deep dive. What is this use case and what does this solution look like so that you can really look at your first AI win? And again, we really emphasize the speed here. We want you to be able to try a production-ready solution as quickly as you can and really understand what this value can look like. So I wanted to thank you all for joining. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our website is unframe.ai. Malvika and I are both available to answer any questions. If you'd like to see some solutions for yourself in a more hands-on environment, we can definitely set up a demo. But yeah, thank you again. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.